G'day guys, Joel Fowler for Emmetts. We're just at our Emmetts yard today and I wanted to film a video for you guys talking about tyres. So tyres are probably not the most exciting of subjects. So if you're kind of not into the ins and outs of this, you may find this video a bit boring, but if you do run a combine or you're looking to upgrade it in the future, then hopefully you might find some information in this handy. So there's a lot of kind of new tyre technologies that have been coming out over the recent years. So I thought it was a good opportunity just to have a bit of a look at them. You know, we've got IF tyres, VF tyres, now LSW tyres are starting to appear. So yeah, thought it was a good time to have a bit of a look at them. So right to left in front of us, we've got a S790, it's a brand new one. Brand new S780, that's a second-hand S680, and a brand new S770 on the far left. So each of those four machines I've put there because there's something different or something unique about the tyre configurations that I want to show you guys. So we're mainly going to talk about singles today. We certainly can put duals on, we can put tracks on, that's no problem. But the main reason I want to speak about singles in particular, because as these machines get bigger and they get heavier, the fronts get wider, they get heavier as well. The loading on these front tyres, particularly when you're running singles, is starting to become an issue. So I guess that's why I'm kind of want to focus on some of the tin tack differences between the singles. Once you go to duals, then obviously, you know, with four tyres compared to two, you've got quite a lot more load carrying capacity, quite a lot more footprint on the ground, a lot more lateral stability, and you know, it becomes less of an issue. So I will talk about the duals and the dual options, but I mainly want to focus on the singles. So to start with, the in-base tyre from John Deere on these, on the whole range actually, so 760 through to 790, is a tyre that we don't really sell very often, and that's a IF 960 R32. So that's the in-base tyre. Our experience with that is it doesn't ride all that great. It's got reasonable load carrying capacity, and that's why it is in base. But now with the advent, I suppose, of these IF tyres, that has become less of an issue. So that is in base, but our preferred option and what we sell most of our single machines on is 870 R38s. So they're an IF tyre, so for 780 and 790 you can only get them in an IF. So to be able to carry the load, you've got to have that IF. For a 760 and 770 you can get them in a non-IF. So to give you a bit of an idea, like all tyres have load ratings, and so basically the higher the load rating, the more load that tyre can carry at, you know, maximum pressure and at the rated speed. So the standard tyre, the 932s, they are a 182 load rated tyre. So in actual terms, that represents a pair of those can carry 17 tonne. So if you compare that to our sort of more popular option, being the IF 870 R38s, they're a 187 load rated tyre and they can carry 19.5 tonne. So as you can see, there's, you know, 2.5 odd tonne of difference there. The other thing we like about the 38s is they're a taller tyre. So for machines that don't have ProDrive, and we do still sell quite a few 770s and 760s with a 3-speed push button, you know, it's a really good reliable transmission. You will get a little bit more road speed out of it because it is a taller tyre, and we find it does give you a little bit better ride. So we'll just go up and have a bit of a closer look. But that is it right there. So the IF 870 R38. So you can see this particular one is a Michelin, and yeah, they're a really popular single tyre option for us. As far as the back tyres, like I said, most of our single machines go up with this on the front. There's a couple of different options on the back. So the rear tyre on this one here, this is a 620/70 R26 on the rear. Now that's an optional tyre, but we do sell quite a few with that option, and the reason for that is is it's not so much an issue with a header with duals, but with a header with singles, if you want to set it up on 3 metres or 120 inch, with a standard rear tyre, it will stick out a little bit past the front wheel. So these 620s are a really good option. They're also a VF tyre. So I spoke about IF, and this kind of depends a little bit on the brand and the exact terminology, but rough rule of thumb is IF sort of stands for increased flexational, VF stands for very flexational, which is a higher rating again. So, and once again, I'm just talking real roughly here, but basically an IF tyre at the same pressure should carry 20% more load than a conventional tyre, and a VF tyre should carry 40% more. So once again, you know, varies from brand to brand and sizing, but that's a really rough kind of generalised rule that you can kind of go by. So your standard tyre, your IF, and then your VF. So that's the 620. That is actually a really, being a VF, that is quite a high load rated tyre. So that's got a 173 load rating, which is equivalent to 13 tonne for the pair. So yeah, that's quite a popular tyre, particularly for machines going out on singles. So the in-base option on the rear is this one here. So this is second-hand machine, so it's a couple of years older, so it's actually got the Imperial sizing on it, which is 28L R26. But the metric version of that is 750/65 R26, and that's the in-base rear tyre for 780 and 790. So you can see that is quite a wide tyre. We sell all of it, or I shouldn't say all, most of our headers that go out with duals would have these on the back, because obviously width isn't an issue, so people tend to go for the wider tyre, a little bit better flotation. Interestingly enough though, even though, you know, if you compare the tyre to the 620 next to it, it is, you know, significantly bigger, wider tyre. It's a conventional tyre, so it's not an IF or a VF, and it is actually lower load rated than the 620 VF on the left hand side. So it's got a 169 load rating, which is equivalent to 11.6 tonne. Compare that to the 620, which is a 173 and 13 tonne. So it's interesting, just with the, I guess, the advances in construction of these IF and VF tyres, that, you know, size does not always equal load carrying capacity. So they're the two options. There's more, but they're the main two options we see for rear tyres on 780 and 790 combines. So we're just going to have a look over here now at this S770, and there's not really too much different on the front. So the front tyre on this is an 870 R38. It's actually an IF, exactly the same as the one we looked at on the 780, but as I mentioned, you can get that in a non-IF version if you wanted to, but there is a reasonable kind of difference in the load ratings between them. So even though you can get the non-IF, we do prefer the IF. So the standard non-IF is a 173 load rating, which is 13 tonne, and if you compare that to the IF, it's a 187 load rating at 19.5 tonne. So that is significantly different. And once again, you know, it's just that there's advances in the construction of the tyres and these IF and VF tyres that are enabling those load ratings to be increased. So the rear tyres on 760 and 770 in base is a little bit different than 780, 790. So this is the in-base tyre in front of us here. So that's a 670 R28, and that's a 164 load rated tyre, which is equivalent to 10 tonne. You can still get the 750s are an option if you want that, or yeah, that's the standard option, and that seems to be what the majority of them go out with, is just that 620. 600, sorry, the 620s on the, or is the 620 is also an option. So both of those first tyres we looked at on the 780 and the 680, you could get that on this machine as well, but that is the in-base tyre. So the one that I really wanted to look at, and I guess my main reason for doing this video, is this S790 we've got over here. And this is actually our Vic demo machine. And this one has been ordered on some LSW tyres. So LSW stands for low sidewall, and the premise of these tyres is that they have a much lower side profile of the tyre and a much larger rim, and the overall profile of the tyre remains the same. So that's the LSW tyre there now, which that's an LSW 855 R46. So if you compare that to our standard 870 R38, so you can see the overall diameter of those tyres is very similar, and that's the premise of it. But you can see the rim on the LSW on the right is quite a bit larger, and as a result the sidewall of the tyre is quite a bit smaller. So the big advantage that we see with this LSW technology, particularly for headers, is that because you've got a lot lower sidewall profile, the lateral stability of the machine should be quite a bit improved. And that is a bit of an issue these days as we get, 40, 45, 50 foot fronts. So just because there's physically much less tyre there to flex, that's going to result in less kind of sideways movement. The other thing about it is the load rating on it is really high. So that's a 190 load rated tyre, which is the equivalent of 21.2 tonne. And if you compare that to the standard 800, well that's the IF, but the IF 870 R38, that's 19.5 tonne. And from factory, that tyre is actually about $800 cheaper option than the standard 800. So we don't really know too much about this tyre yet in regards to how it's going to perform in the field. And that was the exact reason why I put these tyres on our demo machine, so we could actually get one out there and have a bit of a go with it and find out. Like I said, on paper, it looks fantastic. And yeah, the tyre in the flesh looks really good. But we're just keen to get it out there and actually see how it performs in the field. And if it does what everyone says that it should do, I think it's going to be a really good thing for these combines. So yeah, a lot more lateral stability, a lot higher load rating, and actually a cheaper option from the factory. So yeah, these ones are matched up with an LSW tyre on the rear as well. So this one here is a LSW 710/60 R30. Even though that's an LSW, that is also an IF tyre as well. So once again, the load rating on that is pretty high. So that's a 177 load rating, which is 14.6 tonne. So if you compare that to the standard 750s, they're 11.6. So you're talking about 3 tonne difference just on those rears. So yeah, you've got to have those matched up with the LSW on the front. So you can't order a standard tyre on the front and the LSW on the back, or vice versa. But yeah, we think it's going to be a pretty interesting option, and yeah, that's why we've got this machine on this particular tyre, so that we can get it out in the field and have a bit of a muck around with it. So yeah, I guess the other thing we'll just quickly touch on is joules. As I said, we've got 3 main options for joules. So that'd be a 520 joule. So typically that'd be like a 520 85 R42. Then you go up to a 580 joule. So 580 85 R42. And then probably the most popular, particularly on the 780s and 790s, is a 650 joule. So 650 85 R38. So just to give you guys a bit of an idea how these LSW tyres compare load rating wise. So as I said, that LSW 800 is 21.2 tonne. And if you compare that to, so the 580 85 R42s, that's exactly the same load rating, 21.2 tonne. So they're a 166 load rated tyre, but obviously you got 4 instead of 2, compared to a 190 rated tyre with just a 2. So yeah, the 650 joules, they are higher, so they're 26 tonne rated. So, you know, that is 4.8 tonne above that 800 LSW. But it is just a good comparison to give you a bit of an idea of how close in capacity, you know, those LSW tyres are getting to some of those dual options. And it's probably worth mentioning as well that that LSW tyre is available in some bigger sizes again. So you can actually get that in a 1145 R46, which has got 24.3 tonne load rating on it. And there's also a 1250 35 R46 in an R2, so for the rice guys, and that's 24.3 tonne rated as well. So yeah, like I said, it's probably not really a very interesting video for your general punter, but if you run a combine, you're in the market for one, or you're thinking about upgrading, hopefully you've found a little bit of information useful in this. And yeah, as I said, we're going to have that 790 running around and in Vic, and yeah, we'll know a bit more about those LSW tyres by the end of the season. But yeah, on the surface of it, we think it looks like a really good thing. So yeah, there it is, guys. As I said, pretty in depth, probably pretty boring for some of you, but hopefully some of you guys got a bit out of it. Joel Fowler for Emmetts.